Yes, this is John from Flint Talk Radio, and today we're doing a phone interview with the family members of Pablo Lopez, a murder victim that was murdered on July 9th of 2011, correct? Was it July 9th?
Yes.
Yes, and anyway, the family is pretty much kind of, done exhausted all their possibilities right now, and but they're still doing it. They're still plugging away. They're still working on this, and I think that's admirable. And the reason why we're talking today is to bring people's attention to a event that's going to be a fundraising event for to continue your efforts for finding the murder of your family member. And for Julie, we on the phone, by the way, we have Julie Lopez. That's his daughter-in-law, and also one of his nephews, Rodney Chisholm. So Rodney and Julie, you're both there, right?
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah. So anyway, there's this event for the fundraiser. It's going to be at the UAW Local 599, which is at 812 Lee Street. The event's going to be October 5th, 2013, and the event time is going to run from 2 p.m. to 7 p.m. It's going to have a spaghetti dinner, a silent auction, live music. Suggested donations are $10 general public, $8 for retirees, and $5 for children under 10. And this is it's kind of I think this is, I'm just I tremendously respect your family for continuing their efforts when basically, for most of the officials in this town who handle murders, the cops and the other people, basically they've moved on to somebody else. I mean, there's just so many murder victims happening here in Flint, going on here in Flint, that people like your family member are just being kind of shunned aside. And you can't really criticize authorities because of my sheer number and the lack of resources, but we'll go over that a little bit too. I got the poster up. I don't know if you can see it of the event, but I'll show some also pictures during the course of this interview of Pablo himself, and he's kind of, I would say, an extraordinary person. We'll go into that too.
John, I'm sorry. I think that's why the UAW has offered to host this event, because everything that Pablo did for the UAW, for all, actually the picture that he is in on that flyer, he was at the Capitol and he was supporting the teachers' unions. So he went out there to support what he believed in.
And all the things that he did in his life, the thing he's going to be remembered for is being a murder victim. And that's going to be probably the overarching thing that people are going to remember him on the general public side, of course. He was quite the activist.
Ironically, I think because of that, I think it's maybe showing everything that he did. He did so much for all the causes that he liked, and one of them was the veterans. And I think that maybe if he had died of other reasons, maybe we wouldn't be advertising everything that he did, and we want other people to continue these efforts. I recently ran into someone from a Veterans Association, and she said, everyone knew him, and he would help with the Veterans Vietnam Moving Wall. Rodney has more information of all the stuff that he had done for the veterans.
Okay, Rodney, we'll hear a little bit about that too. I mean, it's like this man was definitely a very multifaceted individual. He worked for for recognition and for respect and for the rights of Hispanics. He was instrumental in getting the street renamed here, the part of Lewis Street now known as Chavez, named Chavez. Right. So after the labor union leader. So Cesar Chavez, that is. So please, Rodney, kind of tell the people here of what his other accomplishments and activities were. We'd like to hear it.
Well, Pablo Lopez, he was a proud Air Force veteran. He spent active duty Air Force from 61 to 65, and then he spent a couple years on the Ready Reserves. He really brought a lot of joy, respect, and happiness to his fellow veterans. But he really never asked for a lot in return. In fact, he was a champion of a couple causes. His Adopt a Veteran was one cause. He actually went into the schools, handed out flyers, spoke to the teachers, spoke to the children, and to encourage them to write to a veteran, particularly the ones that are overseas. And he received a lot of cards and correspondence when he was active duty overseas, and he understands and respected that. Getting mail from a veteran to a veteran from family members, that's a really important thing. As a veteran, he actually led, in 2005, he led to have Gagetown, Michigan. Gagetown is actually his hometown in the middle of the thumb, a little small farming community. In 2005, he led the efforts to have Gagetown Post Office renamed the Gagetown Veterans Memorial Post Office. He asked then Representative Dale Kildee to come in and actually officiate the ceremony, and Representative Kildee proudly volunteered his time and gave some great speeches about Pablo Lopez and all his efforts. He really consistently volunteered a lot of his time and efforts, specifically for disabled veterans. He would volunteer to drive them to their medical appointments or to any Veterans Affairs facilities to ensure that they received all their rights available. And he was really a champion of their causes. He really fought for the rights of the underprivileged, and not only from the Mexican perspective with the helping the migrant immigrant farm workers, but he just loved his veterans. He would always volunteer to carry the American flag in parades and ceremonies, and he just loved being a veteran. He was proud of that, and our family's proud of what he did for the veterans.
No, yeah, this such a somber occasion too to have an event, fundraiser and stuff. I mean, it's like so I mean, it's a great thing that you can come together for an event, but I know every one of you wish he was here with you at this point, to have this event, around him anyway. He sounds like I was very impressed when I was talking to the family initially several months ago. How many months ago was that, Julie? 8, 9 months ago we talked?
I think it was in February.
February, okay. So, and I remember just you were, his daughter-in-law, and you're just so passionate about keeping this effort going. That kind of struck me as really just a kind of an expression of how, indication of how much of an impact he made on people's lives and how much people loved him because he was so involved and willing to be involved with other people's lives.
We were amazed to find out how much he did outside of the family events, because he was always at the family events. He was always coming to visit for dinner and going to all of his grandchildren's sporting events and school things. They're all different school functions. So, we were a very close family, and, he wouldn't miss family functions, so.
I don't know if you can see on the the computer, but I have a picture up of several of your family members. Some are seated. He's standing in the back in an orange T-shirt. And if I can recall correctly, the details of this picture, this was taken just a day or two before he was murdered. That
was 4th of July weekend. That was the last time we were all together.
Yeah, so that's where some people are big into cameras. They always want to make sure they capture all the moments. And that struck me. It's like, people say, "Would you bring a camera?" And I was always pretty dismissive of having a camera on hand for family events or whatever.
He would always say, get my picture with all my grandchildren. Get me out with all my grandchildren. So, he liked getting in the pictures, and it's a blessing to have that photo. Yeah,
I have a picture a lot like that of my father just about 2 months or 3 months before he passed away. It was actually, he died in the winter, but it was taken this summer, and somebody just took a picture of him at a picnic he was at, and that was like what I used for the obituary, and that's one I have up in my house. It was just so good to have that, because our family wasn't big picture people. We didn't always snap pictures, and
so you're getting in the pictures now, right, John?
Yeah, I try to avoid them still, but I can understand that. The picture, they say it speaks 1,000 words, but this actually speaks more. This kind of picture, because it just shows that you never know when the people you even just know. Now, you don't even have to care about them, but the people you just know, you're getting used to know who they are. They can be taken from you in an instant. You never know that, and that kind of drives it home. I mean, when I remember when you told me that story behind this picture during the first interview, it was several months ago, and I recall that. So, it definitely made an impact on me. So.
And that's his sister. That's one of his sisters. He's got a lot of siblings, and it is very difficult getting together when we're all together as a family, because inevitably someone cries. Right. Missing him. We try to make it all good, happy function, but you know how that goes.
Right.
When we need the closure, that's kind of where I'm going with that. We need closure. We need to find out what happened. So we're really hoping that, that's why we keep this out there, is we're hoping somebody from the community will speak up, and they can do it anonymously with Crime Stoppers. And so this fundraiser, the way it's working is there's a silent auction, so people are donating items. And if anybody out there that's listening wants to donate items or money towards this cause, they can get it to the UAW, Local 599 on Leith Street, by Friday, the 4th, and they will greatly accept those donations. And then what happens is the money one check will be written to Crime Stoppers. It's 1-800-SPEAK-UP. Then what we will do is we will be putting another billboard up on the side of a highway somewhere in Flint and saying what the new reward money is. When people call in anonymously, and if it leads to an arrest in the case, they can get up to whatever that amount is, and it's anonymous. So if somebody out there knows anything that can help, they can call 1-800-SPEAK-UP, or they can call Sergeant David Bigelow at the Flint Police Department, or Tanya Meeks, Officer Tanya Meeks. She's in charge of Crime Stoppers in Flint. That's what we're really hoping, is that maybe this extra money will entice someone to give us some closure and to get this bad person off the street so this doesn't happen to another family member.
Because if they've done it once, they've got a greater likelihood of doing it again, because they're just a disregard for, casual disregard for human life. The picture I have right now, by the way, Julie, is is like what the picture right now is up of the billboard. It was up on Dort Highway, and from my understanding of the position of this wasn't too far from the actual house that he was living in when he was murdered. So it's not too far
Right.
away from that. So that was kind of that's a very good placement of a sign. I think it'd probably drive it home even more to anybody who might have information. Now, is that still up there? I mean, I feel
No.
yeah.
No, it goes up for 4 weeks at a time, and I think we've put 4 of them up over the last 2 years.
No, it's like I could imagine, because this studio is not maybe more than maybe a little over a mile from where he was murdered at. The home he lived at, become the murder site, and that kind of it makes it more poignant and egregious to me. Is that this is my neighborhood. My family lived in this neighborhood for over 80 years. Throughout the years we've all been here. We've got 5 generations
it's a beautiful
here.
neighborhood.
Used to be. Yeah, it used to be.
Yeah, it was. It was beautiful. And then, years ago, we just kept telling him, Dad, you got to get out of here. It's not safe. But Flint was his home. He loved Flint, and he loved the community. He loved his neighbors. It was easy access for him to go and do whatever he needed to do to help people.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because
if he had lived outside of it, then he'd be doing more driving than he did.
Yeah, because that's the thing about it, especially the spot. The gas price is out of control. I mean, especially that person who's a retiree. That's one of the big considerations. They have to worry if they're going to have to be able to pay all their bills. And gas just fluctuates so high. So high. It just you can't. That's out of the target range for most people if they're on a fixed income. So anyway, I definitely. Like I said, I never knew him personally, but seeing his face, he's got a face that you can actually say is very familiar. I mean, I probably did see him around the neighborhood, probably talked to him, briefly. We talked to a lot of people around here. I mean, I go around here a lot, and he just seemed, from the stories I've heard about him, he was a very family-oriented, a decent man, hardworking. Nobody can be more involved, I think, in this community, in his world than he was.
Yeah, I was when I was passing out some of the Crime Stoppers flyers a few months ago. I was at the Kroger in that area. I don't know what street it was on, but and I asked one of the employees. I thought she was a manager. I said, I was wondering if I could hang this up, and she looks at it. She goes, "Oh, I know him. He shopped here. Oh, he was really nice." And it was really neat to have someone remember him. Just somebody, a random person that remembered who he was.
Yeah, Pablo Lopez, he was a proud community activist and a joker and a kidder, and he absolutely loved being with his family, and that's what he really took most seriously. So we want to make sure that the word gets out. The more media exposure we have, the better our opportunities are. We have to bring the killer to justice. We understand that bad people know bad people, and if they committed this crime, they probably have done it other things too. So the more money we can get for the Crime Stoppers, the initial $2,500 reward for an arrest, and that's what the $25 initially will go to, is an arrest. Continuing efforts to increase the funds is going to help.
Yeah.
Got to put the pressure on the street.
And if the crime gets solved without using that money, then Crime Stoppers returns that extra money to the UAW, Local 599. So, and I'm sure they will do something good with it. So, so that's if the crime gets solved without using that money, that's what's going to happen. But a couple other things about the fundraiser is Legend Sports Grill Bar Cafe in Fenton is donating the food. So thank you to them. and the mayor is going to go. I'm very proud to say that he said he would go and show his support. They're going to be having a 50-50 drawing, and we like to thank Dan Reyes and Mark Morency for hosting this event.
I just hope it's a success, and that's the reason why we're talking about it, because we want to encourage as many people to attend as possible. And I don't have I just basically took the information from the flyer that I have up here right now. So is there any kind of contact information that you're willing to give out to the general public? Now, keep in mind, if you put it out there, people might call you at odd hours. So be aware of that. Make sure it's something, a number that you can actually just put on, silent or something if you're sleeping. People will call you. So
they would call 1-800-SPEAK-UP or the Flint Police Department for Sergeant Bigelow. They can also contact us on Facebook. There's 2 sites right now. One is for the fundraiser. It's Pablo Lopez Fundraiser.
Okay.
And then the other one is Justice for Pablo Lopez. And on that one, there's all kind of articles and newscasts and everything that we've been on for the last couple of years. But they could reach us that way.
Yeah, because I saw that too, like on the bottom of the flyer, you can see it. I don't know if they can see it when they're watching it on their viewers. Viewers are watching it right now, but I can always post that link to the Facebook pages too when I post and tag the show after we wrap this up, because that way people are it makes it so much easier for them to just click on it and go right to those places. So.
And the website for Crime Stoppers is 1-800-SPEAK-UP.org.
It's like I also have to sign up too. I mean, I put the billboard picture up again, so the numbers are again. I really hope that something comes from this, that the fundraiser is successful. It gives you a good chunk of cash to offer, and maybe entice somebody to come up with the evidence that they need, or the information they need to bring these people or a person or people to justice. I don't know how to even fathom losing somebody in this matter. I mean, when somebody's ill, you have time to prepare for this. But the senselessness of this is what's just horrifying. I mean, it's a man who wasn't a threat. He wasn't a player in the stupid game of drugs and violence this town was known for. That's what makes this this particularly outrageous and not acceptable and just horrible. Is there anything else you want to cover? I mean, it's going to be again. It's going to be October 5th. It's going to be at the local UAW local 599. Yeah, 599 812 Lee Street. 2 p.m. to 7 p.m. There's going to be a spaghetti dinner, a silent auction, live music. Go on.
The Tommy Hilton Band, for people in Flint that know that group.
Okay, I didn't know that. It wasn't up on the thing. So thank you very much for adding that. The suggested donation for general public is $10, $8 for retirees, and $5 for children under 10. And I definitely think that's something to do. I mean, you got all the things you want: food, you got music, you got a chance to win something. I mean, win an auction, and get something you want. I can't think of it's a good set. It's actually very inexpensive, I think, if you look at the price of movies and everything else, and it's going for a very worthy cause, not just line the pockets of, fat cats at a production company there in Hollywood. They already got enough money. So, is there anything else you want to put out there before we wrap this up?
We're gonna have some pictures there. We're gonna have a table with, some pictures of Pablo. So if anybody comes and has any memories or things like that they want to talk about, it'll be nice to meet people who have stories about him. We're excited about meeting the people who knew him well.
And John would also like to thank the UAW and specifically Local 599 and the Reyeses for all their help and assistance. The
Reyeses are like very active people, and I see them down at the market down there. I talked to Dan. Dan's been in the studio before for when Tom Sumner was doing a show from here. And we've also, talked to beyond that, and I can't. I mean, they're everywhere, and they do everything they can. So I mean, there's almost like they have this boundless energy to help out and be involved in the community. So they are definitely a great asset to the Flint area. So I can see all the Reyeses that I know. They're just stellar people, in my opinion. So anyway, like I said, I hope you have a huge success. I'm planning to be there, and
great.
And I definitely like to see a huge turnout for you, and make as much money as you can. And And like I said, the people, you did already cover that. Some people would ask, well, what happens if, the information's turned in and people don't have the reward given to them? You already covered that, because a lot of people are, skeptical about
Well,
what's
I'm
going to happen
glad.
with money.
No, I'm glad. I was glad to find that out, because I'm glad that if that does happen, then at least it will go back into the Flint community. So.
Yeah. Well, I'll wrap this up, and I thank you very much. And I hope it's a raging success for you and the family, and I hope some way, in some way, or some measure, you would get some kind of solace and comfort from, bringing these people or a person or whatever to justice. So, thank you again, and I hope to talk to you very soon.
John, thank you.